AKAPADers, welcome back to Saturday Showcase. This is where I bring you something that could be popular or something I'm recently getting into or just something random that I rediscover from my amazing library over here. And I bring it to you and we just kind of sit down and we hit the drawing table and I just show it off. And sometimes it's art related, it's fashion related, it's movie related. And yes, sometimes because of most of the topics on this channel, it's comic book related. But today we have Disney Plus Jim Henson related because Disney Plus just dropped this amazing documentary of Jim Henson on Disney Plus. And I went through it, watched it yesterday, watched and listened to it because, look, we're busy. Sometimes I have to let things run. But we see the early Rolf, the dog, the dog was Jim Henson's first major hit. We see some of his early commercial work, some of his early public access work. And we just get a lot of ideas and work ethic and inspiration and things that should kind of pump your blood. Well, guess what, AKAPADers? Years ago, at the Sound and Motion Museum in Brooklyn, New York, I saw this Jim Henson exhibit that completely blew my mind. A lot of the pictures of that are available on my Facebook page. And then at that point, I just said, look, I need to go all in on this guy. And I actually acquired a Jim Henson stack, a stack of books, a stack of his history shortly after that. And that stack is it's usually always behind me. But we have Jim Henson Imagination Illustrated. I'm just going to go through these. We have Sesame Street Unpaved. We have Jim Henson The Works. And I love it too because this is it's an old library book. Look, it has the film on it. I love when I acquire repurposed library books. We have No Strings Attached, the Jim Henson story of the creatures, the creature shop. Okay, can I talk? It's early in the morning, guys. And finally, we have Jim Henson Design and Doodle. So we will. It's mighty. We're not going to go through every single detail of every single book, but more or less, I just want to showcase to you his career arc. I'm always most interested in anything that someone does on the napkin or a notepad or it's something that just looks non-formal and early work. I love going through a lot of the early work because you really see how targeted some of these individuals are, and there's an absolute through line. And with Jim Henson, just his shapes alone, he has such an eye for shapes, and so many of the Muppets that resonate with us, in our minds, they're shapes. And Jim Henson, to me, on that level, is equal to developing silhouettes for fashion design. Yes, there is a correlation. There is an intersection. So we're going to hit that drawing table. We're going to go... I just feel bad saying this because it's Jim Henson related, but we're going to go balls deep on Jim Henson. Good morning, AKAPADers. Apologies to the lateness of this video because we have about 2 to 3 weeks worth of videos already shot. Team AKAPAD has been killing it, but we got about 2 to 3 weeks already shot. Some of those videos are edited, they're queued up in YouTube so you guys can get that daily drip. And things come up. So I did watch this documentary, and look, no documentary is perfect because there's always things that they leave out, but I just feel like it hits the notes. And here's the crazy thing. The Disney Plus Stan Lee documentary also hit the notes. People just have a vendetta against Stan Lee. To me, that's very odd. So let's just put these in order a little bit. It's been, look, these two, the two bigger ones, it's been a while since I've been through them. We're just going to do Jim Henson's Designs and Doodles. Then we're going to get into Imagination Illustrated, Sesame Street Unpaved, The Works, and then No Strings Attached. Because Jim Henson, too, the Creature Shop, becomes a significant special effects house. This one's great actually, because it has both of these. But the first two have incredible design. Just look at the colors. Look at this is called insert art, but I would further this as call this wallpaper. Very cool stuff. Like the colors, there's lots of green. Our author, Allison Inches, she gives us a good narrative here. And here we go. Look, guys, look at the lines. Look at the notepad illustration. And I said this a little bit in the intro. If you just take the shapes, his shapes are like adapted all the way through. I mean, I even see like a similarity to what they did with the turtles. To again, like to make it in 3D, to make it real, you have to boil things down to very basic shapes. Some of this I love because you can kind of see the ink wash. Excuse me, the ink wash, and where he's like dipping that pen, or he's using some type of watered down ink. The facing green and the inside white. Look, some of these books I just enjoy looking at, and look, I love the details for the page numbers. I love the details for the titles. Like, again, part of this is what Saturdays are all about. We're not just doing comics. We just don't honor Crypt here. Come on, you guys love Crypt. You know, we try and do the spectrum, because to get good with comics, you have to, the things you have to incorporate are vast. This is really cool too. These were like eyeball mobiles that he designed. And we get into some of his graphic design. So he, a lot like Todd McFarlane, like they came in as a graphic designer. I truly believe as to become like a good comic book illustrator, you need symmetry, and you train symmetry in graphic design. You don't get symmetry with drawing comics. You learn symmetry from another practice through a different skill set, and then you incorporate it. But I even like it, like the jazz band. Look, Beaker. So like already, like from early on, and you'll see it in here, his, I think it was like 1961, 1962, his early, like hold up here. Let's just get into it. His early Kermit the Frog drawings. Like, that's Kermit. And it's, if you consider the opposite, 1960. But I really enjoyed his graphic design work. It's just, you know, like you can say some of it's like repetitive in nature, but it's also designed. Creative partnerships. So this book has more text than you would be familiar with, but what it says about it frames the visuals very well. So it puts it in context. Like even someone, look, Jim Henson, Sam and Friends, 1955, 1961. The way how Jim Henson got incorporated into media as quickly as he did, it's absolutely of note. And this poster here, the Tea House of the August Moon, I look at this and I get so jealous because it is so perfect. It's got all the info, everything you need to know, and you read it, you naturally go from left to right, and then it's like you kind of notice the significance of the tea house after you move through the piece. These are a lot of the subliminal, subconscious things that are not intended sometimes. Like you get the result of this by completing the work. Again, we just see, like, it's a cat character here, the cat. And this was for the Zukas television series concept. And we just see him. Like, I love this term though. Foam noir. Not film noir, foam noir. And here, the exhibition I told you about, it's troubling because if he was so hardcore with foam and some of these other materials, they aerate, they dry out, they don't survive. And like there's the process for him is more preserved through the drawing than it is through the puppeteering. And I just feel like the Jim Henson Archive should make more of an effort to recreate these early pieces close to one as possible. And here we go. Nutty Bird. Not exactly Big Bird, right? Look, cartoons, commercials. Each of us expressing our own originality is the essence of art and professionalism. See, I always wanted to get into doing a run of art just like this, because a lot of the early Disney stuff, it's very similar. I'm not sure what the paper is, and we see that just from the scan here. There's something on the other side of this paper, and it could be on the opposite side, but it seems like it's very thin paper, and he's using some type of dip pen, maybe even a brush in some areas, and then it's just like the wash, and you're just like washing the contour, and like you get your separation there. I've wanted to do pieces like this. Just cause mostly it's antiquated and I want to nail it. And I guess he's dragging the dragon, and the dragon's I just noticed that the spear is digging into the dragon as he's dragging it. This is great. Some of his storyboard work, and storyboards like this is how they were done. So they kind of called them boards, and that's pretty much where the name comes from, storyboard. And you would put them up on easels and you would act out everything. Sir Linnet. And here we go, Top Dog. So this, Ralph was the first, he was part spokesperson, first media star of the like Henson world. And even today, like you kind of want to say everything's built through Kermit, but Ralph was, he was like Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and then later Disney created Mickey Mouse. Ralph should be a little bit more focused, a little bit more magnified, a little bit more of a figurehead for the Henson brand. Marketing the Muppets. See, and I love some of his colored work. Now, in one of these, I forget which one, it might be in our next one, we see the original designs for Oscar the Grouch, where he's like purple. Look at the vehicles. It's like really cool stuff here, guys. Spinning Muppet Tales. And I'm going through page by page. I know I said I wasn't. This dude. Look at that. I envy the simplicity. Because again, if I drew this, I would get the brush, then I would just feather the hell, and I would sculpt it, and I would shape it, and I would just take the fun out of it. Like this is great. Some more Frackles. Some Frackles illustrate proposal television. So the Frackles, a pitch television show, right here. A lot like Fraggle Rock, right? Fraggle Rock 2 was my absolute introduction on HBO to Jim Henson. This is what I want. I want more and more of the Notepad sketches. Let me know in the comments below if this stuff gets you off, because it gets me off. Things Get Hairy, Muppet Monsters. Like, look at this dude. Look at that. Like, there's a sense of whimsy. There's a sense of joy. Girl and Monster revised sketch variety show appearance. Mid 1960s. And you kind of want to say, look, like as deep into production as he is at this time, because we're nearing the end of this book, as deep into the production as he is, this is the level of work he's spending time at the drawing table. We go to the Muppet Show, that's entertainment. The Way to Sesame Street. And this is now the famous mechanics, right? To where Big Bird has one arm, right? Only one arm moves. The puppeteer has his hand high up. So the Big Bird concept design is, and see, we get more of it here. So, like, this is so legendary right now, because that was one of the things that circulated, and you would kind of say things like that to make it seem like you were like educated, or you were of the mind, to where you would tell people Big Bird uses one arm and the other arm is moving his mouth. Look at that. Oh, here it is. Look, the purple Oscar the Grouch. Why? How come this isn't merchandised? Like, are we just lost on the history of some of this, where no one really cares, or we're not told that we care? The purple Oscar the Grouch is so freaking awesome, and it says here that he did make a appearance. Look, and then it's marker with acetate. Look, just his, like, there's a noodling here, right? There's just your mind is wandering aspect to it all. Yeah, these are great. See, the puppeteer wearing black. Like, Henson spent time too. Like, he went overseas. He learned East 69th Street. Come on, guys. How do you not love that? Like, he greeting cards. Every year I say I want to do greeting cards. I never do them. Early chronology. 1976. The Muppet Show first season. And the rest is history. 1969. We always got to see what happens in 1969. The Cube. NBC experiment. In television, Sesame Street begins first season. So there it is. So that's... See, one of these I bought at the exhibit too. This book has amazing... Like, look at that. That's one of his notebooks. This book just has absolutely jaw-dropping design imagery. Look at him just lounging. So this looks like an Ames lounger. And the Ames lounger now, these are about $5,000 to $10,000. And they're legend. Like, they're getting a authentic Ames lounger is absolutely legendary. And people have recreated it, which is also fine. But the originals are museum pieces at this point. But yeah, he's just, got good taste. So I love some of his design work here. Like, look how young he is. Like, you kind of want to say he adopted the old man look to be a little bit more of a parent to children. Like, look at him. Right? Like, to kind of seem a little bit more of a senior to kids. Like a wizard. Like someone to trust. Look. Milwaukee Instant Coffee. So even that, it's like there's a biography. I always forget the author. If you read the one biography, it's pretty thick. You see that it's so similar to the rise of Disney, where Henson continuously was getting attention, developing a higher work ethic, getting better collaborators, like building all of it. But then you're struggling from project to project, client to client. So a lot of times when individuals came to offer money and to buy into certain portions of everything he was producing, he would dump it. He would sell it because they needed the money. And, Alexander the Great, him ending up, or the properties ending up at Disney, a lot of people say Well, that's the best thing that could have, happened because everything's together. Same argument that they make with Star Wars. Look at Ralph. Look, Purina dog chow. And look at his drawing here of the city. I mean, like, was there really, like, you want to say, was there a time where he just wasn't drawing? There's so many good pictures in this. And even now, look at there you go, notepad art, guys. Even now, I'm getting a little, look, wheels, flutes, crowns. These look like either cereals, something. Look at the early Cookie Monster with the teeth. I'm a little upset that. So we get some of the same stuff here, Sir Linnet. But I'm a little upset I haven't been going through this stuff more. But you get things sometimes. You're so into it. You go here. Look, Purple Oscar gets a little section in this book. But like you spend some time learning about some of these things, and you go all in. After that exhibition, it was maybe like a couple months. I was everything Jim Henson. And but then it ends up on the shelf. So Saturday presentations, guys, are a lot of this. Like I'm just re-experiencing some of this, as I hope some of you are re-experiencing it or discovering it for the first time. Again, his notepads. And you need like a crew of people to like doodle this, right? Like Thog, great name. And and you need fabricators. You need people to help you make it. Like, oh, I love the contour strokes here. Look, so the point that so many people miss is that if you can be lifelike and you can be it's like if you can draw cartoony, you can do lifelike, and vice versa. And a lot of people miss that point. See, like if you can simplify forms, because he's layering this. Like if you can wireframe it, and you see the measurements and the distance, and like maybe like this arm should be a little bit more in, but then like it's also not a final piece. But see, like look at his character, his cartoons, the people he works with. You could identify these people. Nick Cavett over here with the Jim Henson puppet. Oh, the cars. Really cool. Really cool. And guys, like, this gets into the entire career arc. Like, look at the map of Fraggle Rock. I still have to do one of these for UZI SUZI. And look, his notepad sketches, look how much they've improved. How much more detailed, exact, again, layered they are. But the Dark Crystal is really what I consider to be his magnum opus. It is, there's nothing like the Dark Crystal. And the Dark Crystal is really what I would consider to be his greatest work. It's also one of the greatest movies, that's what I was looking for, of all time. I guess I have to track this down. I need this. So we can go over it. I don't have a lot of Dark Crystal in the library. So a part of where I left off here, I wanted to focus on Jim Henson when I built the stack. And the Dark Crystal stuff, the Labyrinth stuff, and a lot of the Muppet stuff didn't seem as interesting to me because I know so much about it. What is this? This is crazy. Look at this dude. The Muppet. So maybe some of you... Right, there's always, Muppet Babies are always coming up now. I remember when they did these as a McDonald's promotion. They were Happy Meal toys. Muppet Babies is not anywhere, right? Like, we cannot go watch the Muppet Babies somewhere on a streaming service. So I guess like it's the rights are tied up and they cannot acquire them, which is weird because if Disney Plus can get the Ewok cartoon on Disney Plus, you can get Muppet Babies. Yeah, look, the Alice in Wonderland. So I remember growing up, and a lot of people would tell me that they remember a really creepy, scary version of Alice. And like, no one knew it was Jim Henson. Labyrinth here. So the name that always comes up with Labyrinth is Brian Ford. Like, I don't know, who is this guy? I love this design. The black eyes are just awesome. Yeah, so that's Imagination Illustrated. Had to take a little bit of a break there. Next up, Sesame Street Unpaved. Oh wow, the sheet music. Dude, this is great. It's purple tinted to match the count. Yeah, and the crazy thing with Sesame Street is I'm absolutely less educated on all of it. And I know there's been a couple Sesame Street documentaries. Again, like this, they nail the design. When they want to just get the colors right, the formatting, the playfulness. So this is really just... This goes through everything with Sesame Street. The characters, the music, some of the timelines. Right, Zoe... Right, I guess is Zoe controversial now? Like right here, what's that? Did you know? Did you know Zoe was written to represent a female monster with the psychological age of a three-year-old? Okay. You got Whoopi over here. Like, who's even on Sesame Street? Who's even the new people, right? Like, Sesame Street should be one of those programs that is it only on HBO Max? I don't know. I'm not up to date on, but this is great just to flip through. Design wise, I love the colors. I love the layout. This is very well thought out, very well executed. So yeah, this is just, we kind of would call this a definitive book or a like ultimate history. It just gives you a lot of fun facts. But I love the sheet music. Yeah, Snuffleupagus. Look at that sweater. That sweater is cool. Alright, so Sesame Street and Pate. Jim Henson, The Works, The Art and Magic, The Imagination. Again, look at the artwork of Brian Ford for the Dark Crystal. That's our boy. Look, Labyrinth definitely, let me know. Labyrinth grew on me. Labyrinth took a time to grow on me. I always appreciated like the presentation of it, but just it being like a singular piece. Look at Kermit at the table. This is almost like that meme, like everything is fine while like the room's burning. Yeah, Harry Belafonte, look at that. And I'm pretty sure, right, the Disney Channel does the Disney oh, this is like a little insert book. Oh, and look, this is like a little bit of a history. Oh, look at him with the bike. Him and his dad. So like his brother died, I believe. And I think the brother like kind of gave him a different life direction when his brother passed. Very similar to George Lucas's car crash that led him into filmmaking. And I lost my point there. I was about to make a point, and we're just jumping all over the place. This is great. Like, look at some of these pictures. He had an admiration for cars. There's always pictures of Jim Henson in vehicles. Like, look, the early Muppets. Like a life lived. This is awesome. The steel. So there's a lot of bars and clubs in Philly that will have this in their like randomly throughout because again, a lot of places are they're gutted out, right? You have like exposed rafters, you have exposed air conditioning ducts, and everything's painted. And well, this is them painting an elephant purple. We don't like that. But yeah, short films, like Oscar nominated short film creator. So this is the Cube. We saw this in another book. I'm not exactly 100% on what the pitch for the Cube was. Of any Jim Henson television, the two innovative television shows, Youth 68, the Cube broadcast on ABC. Okay, so these were... So look, if it's NBC, like how come that's not available on stream? Let me get into... So if people just pick up his career... Look, there's Frank Oz. They pick up his career and they'll say... it's like Jim Henson, Sesame Street, The Muppets, Muppets movies. And that's really how they arc his career. And I'm just hoping Bert and Ernie... Look, Frank Oz. Right there. We always pay attention to Frank Oz. Yeah, but we kind of forget that he developed a company, an apparatus, a merchandising arm, just like George Lucas did with Star Wars. Yeah, like, and you really had, like, these were, Jim Henson and George Lucas really were, like, the children of Walt Disney. Look, Saturday Night Live. Muppet Show. Look at the people. Look, Elton John. John Cleese over here. Georgia Burns. Steve Martin. Just like Vincent Price. The Vincent Price one is great. Oh, we get more. I always like, yeah, I was about to say, I always like this Sylvester Stallone one. But there's like a Star Wars Muppet episode, a Muppet Star Wars episode. So this book's great. Like, here we go. We always want... You can never get enough of The Dark Crystal. Maybe the greatest movie of all time. It really is. Because there's only like a human figure a few times on screen, and it's when the camera's like a mile back. But everything else in The Dark Crystal was created like just look how they're huddled here around the camera. It's like, right? It's just like a lot of people. So this is great. This is a good one. Yeah, and it always gets light towards the back. Like the witches, I forgot that they did the witches. It gets lighter towards the back because the company expands, and it's like again with the Muppet Babies. It expands and it bleeds out and it becomes less Jim Henson, but the style is prevalent, the attitude's prevalent, like the work ethic is prevalent. Like look at that. So the last one, guys, the inside story of Jim Henson's Creature Shop. This was so Atlantic Book Warehouse. These guys were local here in around New Jersey and Philadelphia, and this is one of the last books left over from my like original library. So I always talk about my comic book collection 1.0, and you guys are all with me on the journey of the comic book collection 2.0. Very similar to my library. There was a time where I liquidated my entire library that I built through my like high school and early 20s, and I would just go around the bookstores, and any book that they had like this I would just buy and then rush somewhere to sit down and start reading it. Beyond Kermit. See, look, the prehistory of the Creature Shop. So this is like really good stuff here. Like, look, the Alice in Wonderland is so crazy. My job was to be Jim when he wasn't there on Dark Crystal, which of course was an impossible task. Labyrinth. There we go. And look at the storyboards of the Dark Crystal. great logo. There's so much about Dark Crystal. I mean, I can probably do a lecture right now. And it's like, I know so much because I would sit down and just read the Dark Crystal stuff first. So they're starting with kind of Dark Crystal, then Labyrinth. I mean, like, even like here, like this is Never Ending Story. Like this is the Flintstones movie. Which dude, I love that Flintstones movie. Yeah, see right here. See, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. We keep that in there. And I don't exactly remember why this is left over from the original library. Maybe it is because it had the Dark Crystal artwork in it. Or it wasn't worth selling at the time. The eyes have it, the turtles. Basic forms, guys. Very basic forms. I always forget that, like, this is a fact. Like, sometimes I remember this, sometimes I don't. But yes, Jim Henson's The Dinosaurs. Network television. Lasted 4 seasons. Not the mama. Like, some nice storyboards of the turtles. You don't see that often, do you? We will have to do more of a detailed analysis of this. Like, nightmare fuel. Oh, look at the Pinocchio. Right, that's the Jonathan Taylor Thomas Pinocchio, right? I think. I'm not familiar with this version. But look, Jiminy Cricket being a real cricket. Just like almost like every single page, there's just something to learn, something to Gulliver's Travels. I remember when that came on TV. Sammy Malone as Gulliver. Yeah, and it goes into the. I remember reading articles about how, it was just kind of like a lot of people didn't like that the Creature Shop was going digital with a lot of stuff. That was controversial. Here we go. Oh yeah, so look, they did start with the Dark Crystal. So what's the last one? Movie wise, yeah, Pinocchio. The film Buddy, right? George of the Jungle, TV, The Odyssey. Yes, The Odyssey was huge too. So George of the Jungle at 97 is where they're kind of ending this. That also could be like once this book was published. I don't know what year this book came out, but it could have been close to 97. I'm not sure when they got bought out. Really. So guys, yeah, a little bit of an introduction to the affordable books of Jim Henson. Imagination, right? I think Doodles is, believe it or not, Designs and Doodles might be the most expensive one in this entire, and it might have a hardback edition. That kind of comes up on my suggestion list. But guys, everything here is affordable. Deep dives, and get yourself that biography too.